Did you want that candle lit?
Dallas and Lloyd, a
Okay.
particular symbolic time.
Okay. Friends gathered here at Wilson Tarragindi. Friends, apologies for the delay. Those who are gathered here in person, we are waiting. When Facebook says they'll do it live, they mean when I'm good and ready, not when you're ready. So we're waiting for Facebook to be ready to get our live link up. So please, thank you for your patience. We'll be able to head off as soon as we can. Way back at the beginning of COVID, March this year, David playing one of the very early songs in this collection that we are launching tonight, Songs of Solace and Sorrow. Welcome. I want to welcome those who are here in person, appropriately socially distanced, in Wellers Hill Tarragindi Church, part of Southside Uniting Church in Brisbane. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for those who are gathering online, as many of us have become used to doing throughout this year. Wonderful to have you here as well for this launch of this amazing and unique book. I'm David Busch. I'm the Presbytery Minister for the Uniting Church in South Moreton Presbytery, which includes southern Brisbane, Logan City, Gold Coast and out to Beaudesert. And I've been a friend and colleague of David and MacGregor's for many years. It's a real privilege for me to be emceeing tonight. You won't hear much from me because a lot of tonight is about the journey of a pandemic and with the music and words that make up this. 4 months ago, this event wasn't even on the horizon. And that's not because COVID restrictions would have prevented it, because David hadn't even imagined it. David had been writing music through COVID, but it was only a few weeks ago that David decided it would be great to make an anthology, a collection that told a journey and that offered this music, instrumental and vocal, to the church, not only as a reminder of this year, but as a body of work that enables us to engage with lament, with sorrow, with solace through all the circumstances of life. And so this book production is quite a recent and rapid phenomenon. So David, well done for getting it out in this way, in this time. We'll tell you more about how you can buy it. You can buy hard copies and you can also buy e-book versions. They are both available on a website that I'll mention now. So if you're online, you can go diving into it, www.lulu.com. And if you type in the name of the book, Songs of Solace and Sorrow, you'll find the two options there, the online or the hard copy version. What a year it's been. If you saw that date as David was playing, March the 30th, did you think, what was life like just before then and how life has been different? It's been an unprecedented year, and one of the most unprecedented things about it has been the unprecedented use of the word unprecedented by everybody who wants to describe what this year has been like. And it has been, in many ways, such an amazing, unexpected journey that we've been on. Many of us personally, through the economic, the workplace, the social, and in some cases personal loss and grief of this time, but of course socially, nationally, internationally. And while it's tempting to describe it as unprecedented, in a sense, isn't this the universal story of human communities under strain, human communities that suffer incredible loss, unexpected damage, disruption, and people trying to make sense of it, not just in a global way, but finding meaning and hope through it. This collection of work is very much like the biblical book of Psalms, because the Psalms give to the people of God, the Hebrew people, the narrative not only of joy and praise, of salvation and hope in God, but of lament and sorrow, of questioning and challenge. And they are Psalms both deeply personal and incredibly communal. In this collection that David's given us, he is inviting us to have both a personal and communal journey of solace and sorrow. But the word that sits behind the solace and sorrow, the reason for the book, is not to keep us in a dark place. It is to be reminded by the shaft of light on the cover that there is hope that brings its life through the darkness. So the blackened, burned tree in the foreground has the sunlight of hope as green leaves take their life through it. This is a raw journey that David shares with us. It's an honour for us to hear David's thoughts as a man, a minister, a disciple. It's a journey that is both very personal, but also, as I say, very shared. David gives words through text and through music to a journey that we have all been on to some extent or another. Tonight, we will also be on a journey through this material. We will hear some of the words. We will hear some of the music. You may find yourself invited into emotional and spiritual spaces which have given expression to David's sense of self and life and hope, which may also do the same for you. So we hope that this launch not only is about a book, not only is about some creative material, it is actually about a journey that David invites us to share with him. One of the interesting things in the very end of this book is that David has written a letter. He's written a letter to COVID-19. What do you write to a pandemic? David offers some thoughts about what he would like to say to this virus. It's a very interesting letter. It's one of those creative things that sparks David's ministry and enables people to see things in a fresh way. We're going to begin or go further into this launch now by hearing another letter. This is the foreword that comes in video from a long-term friend and colleague of David MacGregor's, many of us also knowing and honouring his work. This is from Craig Mitchell. Let's hear his foreword now.
And it's good to see some familiar faces there tonight. I'm delighted to introduce to you David MacGregor's new music book, Songs of Solace and Sorrow, A Pandemic Journey. And who better to introduce this than someone from Victoria? Premier Dan sends his congratulations, David. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit us earlier in the year, we were shocked. We felt senses of loss and displacement and all other kinds of feelings and emotions that we couldn't put into words. It was new territory for us, both physically, socially and spiritually. And most of us didn't know how to react. We didn't know what to say or pray, and we struggled to make sense of it all. What David MacGregor did was go and sit at his piano. Now, I've known David for 40 years. I've played his songs all over Australia. I've played them with him and I've written some songs with him, and we all know and love many of David's songs. But what happened on this occasion was something different. David, again like the rest of us, feeling feelings and not being at a loss for words, found a way to express them through music, getting up early in the morning, sitting at the piano and just playing. And the surprising thing from this was we didn't get the usual David MacGregor songs, the praise songs or the Boppy Kids songs. Something else happened. David started playing these poignant, moving, stirring instrumental pieces, and they spoke to people, and he would put them on the internet and people would say, I love that, can I use it in my church? Can I put a prayer to it? Can I put some images to it? Can I use it in my own personal devotion? And of course David says yes, because he's very generous with his music. And so these kind of landscapes of the heart or landscapes of the spirit became something that we drew upon, and David just kept writing them and writing them and writing them. And I think for him they were a prayer language as well, a way of him speaking to God and God speaking to him. And that's what they've been for me. They've also been an encouragement to come back to the piano and learn to play some of them. But my prayer tonight is that you will experience them not just as music, but as a spirit journey of healing and maybe hopefulness as we come out of this pandemic time, that they will be a gift to you and your faith community, just as they have been a gift to me and mine. So David, thank you for your gift. Thank you for your sharing, and thank you for the way that God encourages us and speaks to us and carries us through this wonderful music that you've given. I hope you have a great night tonight.
Behind your iPad or your TV in your home, or coming in person here tonight. Thank you. I look back to March, and Dale and I had just got home just a matter of weeks from a time with one of Dale's sisters near Houston, Texas. Little did we know that in a matter of weeks later we would be in lockdown, and that lockdown was getting more and more, if you can have a lockdown, you know what I mean. It was getting more and more restrictive. And then I got a Facebook post. I'm using Dale's phone because mine is being used in the engine room over yonder. Let's try this one more time. A Facebook a post from a long-time friend of mine, the Reverend Bruce Johnson, and who was calling people to light a candle in their window at night, and associated with that, to pray a prayer that the churches in Scotland were calling all of Scotland to pray. This is on the 22nd of March. The prayer is this, and there's some beautifully Scottish words at the end. For all that is good in life, thank you. For the love of family and friends, thank you. For the kindness of good neighbour and Samaritan stranger, thank you. May those who are vulnerable, hungry or homeless experience support. May those who are sick know healing. May those who are anxious or bereaved sense comfort. Bless and guide political leaders and decision makers with wisdom. Bless and guide health workers and key workers with strength and well-being. Bless and guide each one of us as we adapt to a new way of living. And may the light shining from our windows, and here's the Scottish bit, across road and wind, glen and ben, kyle and isle, be reflected in our hearts and hands and hopes through Jesus Christ our Lord. So for months on, weeks on, nights on end, Dale and I said that prayer. It wasn't just us. We lit our candle. And so we want to share, and I invite my wife Dale, who's been the partner in comfort and compassion for me through this journey. And I needed to say that. We're going to share this song, which is called We've Lit a Candle. Other songs tonight, most of these are instrumentals. You're invited to join in, but probably not this one. It goes like this. I'm just making sure that we are ready to go at the back there. The next piece Come up, Peter. It's might be when we decided. One of the great musos from our church at Southside, and I've known Peter for almost 7 years, is Peter Choy. And Peter's going to be sharing with Dale and myself in preparing in the songs tonight, both songs and instrumentals. Looking back on my life, I've always seen myself as a fairly resilient, low-maintenance person. Well, by about the 7th of April, that was starting to crack. If you don't know what I mean, just take Dale out for coffee sometime. But I realised it wasn't just myself starting to crack. And then I came across the image of a tree, the resilience in that tree, and the resilience two ways, reaching up to the light from the sun, from the sky, but roots digging down deep, holding it firm. There was a song in there, and Peter and I are going to share it with you. We move on to the 10th of April. The pieces were coming thick and fast, and of course tonight we are just doing about half of the pieces in the book. Sacrifice. And this happened around Easter time, and it's obvious a time for Christians of remembering Christ's sacrifice on the cross. But it was becoming obvious the sacrifices that were happening in our neighbourhoods around the world. I'd watch the evening news, and it was obvious the sacrifices that were being made. There were people in apartment blocks in London going on their balconies to applaud the public health workers who were sacrificing. There were people in our own community who had to work from home, and I shudder to think some of the implications for young families, school-aged children, both parents having to work from home. I know one particular family, they did a lot of their work at night time as they couldn't do it at the day. They had children to care for. Sacrifices. This piece is called Sacrifice.
During the pandemic, by April, it wasn't just the growing number of people who were in hospital with the virus. People were starting to feel their own mental health impacts. And there were some very interesting and creative ways for communities to gather together through online choirs and discussion groups, and people discovering ways of being together via technology. But as the COVID impacts grew deeper and darker, so did the lives and capacities to cope of many people. The proceeds from the sale of David's book tonight will go to two charities, two organisations that have been at the front line of trying to keep people mentally and emotionally intact. Lifeline and Beyond Blue. One of the impacts of COVID has been we have been reminded of the importance of our own well-being, how we make sure that we're okay, and how we make sure that the people around us are okay. And we've also discovered that people have a very wide range of supports. Some have a lot of social and personal support, and some have very, very few. And for those who have reached the point of an end, places like Lifeline become the lifeline that helps them be here tomorrow and their family together next week. So we're going to hear a bit about Beyond Blue and Lifeline tonight in this because we want to remind and celebrate those organisations, and we want to support them through the proceeds of this book. So watch now as we see a little bit of the Lifeline story.
Bye, Hayden.
Bye, Maggie.
See ya.
Bye, Hayden. See you tomorrow. Hey, Mum.
Hey. How was school today?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Is Is this all the clothes you want to give away to Lifeline?
Yeah? Why do I have to again?
Well, because if you haven't worn it in a long time, it's nice for it to go to good use. And if people are in crisis or need help, it's good for them to know that they have someone to call. Hey, hang on, I thought you liked that top. You sure you want to donate it?
Yeah, I do. Forgot your hat.
Hello, love. How are you? Good, good. Oh, that's a nice shirt, isn't it?
Hello, this is Lifeline. May we help you?
Hello? I'd really like to talk to someone.
Yeah, sure, you can talk to me. What's been happening?
I'm being bullied online by some kids at school.
That must be really tough.
It is.
When an article is donated to Lifeline Queensland, it passes through at least 38 pairs of hands before one of our crisis supporters can answer a call for help.
Morning.
Morning, Ella.
Good morning. Good morning, Hayden. Nice shirt.
Thanks, Ella.
Well done, Lifeline. At the end of the day, this book and this launch is not really about me, though I'm part of the equation, obviously. It's about supporting mental health work through Lifeline and Beyond Blue. We read from my book. I blogged this on the 18th of April. Sometimes I feel like right now, I'm paraphrasing it actually, that I'm going a bit crazy. Did you ever feel like you were going a bit crazy during the COVID-19 pandemic? I did. You see, I love going to the beach for a walk. I couldn't do that. I love having a swim at South Bank. I couldn't do that. I enjoy having a coffee or a meal at a local cafe, one in particular. I couldn't do that. I love with Dale going to a movie or the cricket or the football. I couldn't do that. I love worshipping right here with my local church community. I could not do that. I like having people over when we want to. I couldn't do that. I love travelling. I couldn't do that. That was crazy. So I ended up writing a piece of music called Crazy. I wanted to change the title because those of you who know their country music know that about 60 or so years ago, Willie Nelson, when no one knew about Willie Nelson, wrote a wonderful song called Crazy. And this wonderful country singer Patsy Cline, who died far too young in a plane crash, made a all-time classic hit out of it. Well, to sound a bit crass, I thought if Willie can write a song called Crazy, so can David MacGregor. So Peter's going to add his fiddle to it. This is an upbeat one, in case everything's been a little bit reflective and morose. We're going to have some fun with this. A 1, 2, 3, 4. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Well, April wasn't a good month, because I went from being crazy to agitated. Didn't I, Dale? And I looked up agitated in the dictionary, and it said things like excited, disturbed. It's not really helpful when you're feeling agitated and the dictionary says you're excited. I didn't feel excited. And it said I'm disturbed. I didn't like hearing that about myself. But I drilled down in thesaurus.com and it had other words like flustered, moved, upset. And I added some of my own called unsettled, restless, uncertain, and 2 words, on edge. And then being a news junkie, I'd watch the TV news and there was graph after graph after night after night, and pollies and health experts, all very well meaning, I do want to say, saying it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. I didn't need to hear that. They were only being honest, and there were horror stories and 4 corners and 60 minutes stories about some horrible things happening in nursing homes. Yes. So I wrote agitated. It's nothing to do with a particular type of washing machine. Okay. Agitated. Thank you. But then things improved, at least for a while. And in some parts of Australia, and certainly in Queensland, things started to ease. So I wrote a song called Easing, because easing made a difference. Dale and I could now travel, not just Dale and myself, not only beyond our neighbourhood, not only up to 50 metres, we could actually go to our favourite beach around Snapper Rocks at the Gold Coast. That's an actual picture from Snapper Rocks. We could go to the beach, and the beach is one of my go-to places, and Dale's, and I'm not the only one in the room that applies to. Nothing beats a beach walk, even if I don't have the physique of some of the board riders. It was just good to get out, smell the flowers, take in the fresh air, grab a coffee. This is easing. Easing. I'll invite Dale up now. This is probably once again not the time I called you up. And Peter. If you ask me a song that I'm proudest of in the book, it means most to me, it's probably not even an instrumental, it's this song. Round about May, when this song that I'll share soon was written, we started hearing this is a chance for the world to pivot. What's the new normal going to be like? It's time to have a reset, time to push the reset button. And then, thanks Paul, I saw this quote from an African-American poet and activist, Sonia Renee Taylor. And it hit me incredibly. She wrote, "We will not go back to normal. Normal never was. Our pre-corona existence was never normal other than we normalised," and get this next bit, "greed, inequality, exhaustion, depletion, extraction, disconnection, confusion, rage, hoarding, hate and lack. We should not long to return, my friends. Sorry, we should not long to return, my friends. We are being given the opportunity to stitch a new garment, one that fits all of humanity and nature." And those words, stitch a new garment, really hit me. What does that mean? To stitch a new garment. And please feel free to join in when you get the feel of the song. If you've heard it before, there's no excuse for not singing along. Okay, and it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4.
We will not go back to normal, 'cause normal never was. Done so much reflecting about how life is and was. Normal meant being greedy, meant lack, injustice, rage. Normal meant confusion, unkindness in our age. Time to stitch a new garment with love in every seam, weaving understanding that's lived much more than dream. Each colour being woven in unity, in peace. Building tomorrow, may our striving, may our praying, may our caring never cease. Oh, God, give us new hope for this moment and these times, to weave out deep connections. God gave this gift of time to weave a new humanity through this bewildering world. Let's weave in all our colors, that love be lived and shared.
Join us.
Time to stitch a new garment with love its every seam, weaving understanding that's lived much more than dream. Each colour being woven in unity, in peace. Building tomorrow, may our striving, may our praying, may our caring never cease. May our striving, may our praying, may our caring never
Of course, there are signs of that new garment all around the place, aren't there? It's a bit like a cloth version of the coming of the kingdom, where we see the sowing of that new thread of hope and life and love, if we choose to sow it in the fabric of our relationships. We've heard a bit from Lifeline. The other organisation that's being supported through the proceeds of the sale of this book is Beyond Blue, another frontline agency that's done terrific work through COVID, but of course much earlier and will continue much beyond in serving the mental health and well-being of many, many Australians. Let's see this video about some of their work.
What was going through my head at the time was this strange thought pattern that everything was going wrong, that I'd achieved nothing and everything was bad in my life. And it was just amazing how it was all consuming. And it was on my mind 24/7, just wearing me out.
The main part of sort of depression and anxiety is that you feel really, really isolated and you feel really, really alone.
I tried to focus a lot on my baby, my daughter, but as the days went past, it was like the darkness was starting to creep in, and eventually it got to a point where I didn't want to get out of bed.
The beginning of the process is actually recognising that there's something wrong and that, it's not right that you should feel the way you're feeling. Then you can decide, right, now I need to take action.
I was all alone, there was no people around. So the only thing that I thought I could do was actually ring Beyond Blue. I did that and it was such a good job. You know, I didn't feel alone. It allowed me to actually move on from where I was, you know, in the hole that I was.
Seeking help is like, you realise when you actually get the help how important it is.
It's helped me to get on with my life and make a new life for myself, and therefore making my life worth living.
Every year, over 3 million people in Australia live with anxiety or depression, or both. Many, many more of us will have friends, partners, family members and workmates who are going through a tough time. Today, like every day, 8 people, just like us, die by suicide. That's more than twice the national road toll. That's why Beyond Blue is here for you, every day, in more ways than ever before, equipping you with tools and providing support where you live, work, learn and play. We're still working hard every day to raise awareness, to educate people and stare down stigma and discrimination. But we're also running national initiatives in schools and workplaces right now, right across the country. Our support service and online forums are there for people around the clock, and we're also building and rolling out innovative, new services to get people psychological support early and to help people find their way back to life after a suicide attempt. We continue to strongly advocate for a society and a high-quality system that supports people when and where they need it. So whoever and wherever you are, Beyond Blue can help you achieve your best mental health. Visit our website today and take those first steps if you're worried about yourself or someone else.
I commend the work of Beyond Blue to you, and quite deliberately the phone numbers for both Beyond Blue and Lifeline are in your program for tonight. Thanks, Paul. By about the middle of May, I thought I was sort of getting it together, if I can put it that way. I had a few good days strung together, if you know what that's like. And it's amazing, I'm reading from a book here, how doing something as simple as an early morning walk, and I'm not known for my early morning walks, I'm not even known for my walks, but certainly not my early morning walks. Then grabbing a takeaway breakfast from a local noted Scottish fast food clan, then going to a local park under brilliant autumn skies. I took that picture there. Sunshine, fresh air, you name it, even a bit of a gentle breeze. Sure helps give perspective on things. I asked myself, David, why aren't you doing this more often? It helps you. It lifts your spirits. Again, it gives you some fresh perspective. Then I was reminded of Psalm 43 verse 1. Why, my soul, are you downcast? Why so disturbed within me? Put your hope in God, for I will yet praise him, my Saviour and my God. This is perspective. perspective. Despite what my longtime friend Craig Mitchell said in that lovely opening video, he wrote the foreword, which is a bit longer in the book, I haven't written many praise songs over the years. In fact, I've written very few. I've written songs to do with mission, justice, community, the cross, Christmas, the Holy Spirit, being disciples. Very few praise songs. I've often wondered why. I did a bit of a thesis on this for my masters. I actually think the church sometimes gives too much. We should never stop praising, but we don't give enough emphasis to music. That's for other purposes in worship. I'll stop right there on that one. But then, I'm not exaggerating here, at about 2 o'clock in the morning, when I would usually go to the room that I would normally go to at 2 o'clock in the morning, and probably some of us go to that, well, not that same room, but a similar room, a praise song based on Psalm 100, Make a Joyful Noise to the Lord. Many of us know that. It came to me. I got my iPhone by the side of my bed, and in a bleary-eyed state, I wrote down the words of the chorus and some hieroglyphics to help me remember the tune. And a good sign, whether it's 2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon, if I can remember the song later in the day, it has something going for it. Well, I woke up, I did get back to sleep, and I remembered enough of the song. So I wrote a praise song. And in this book, there's about 2 or 3 praise songs. I haven't written too many other praise songs in my life, but they're in the book. I invite Dale and Peter to join me in this song. This song is called Make It Joyful. Some of you have heard this song before, so feel free to join in. Off we go.
Make a joyful noise to God. Make a joyful noise to God. Make a joyful noise to God. Come worship and be glad. Make a joyful noise. Make it joyful. Make a joyful noise. Make it joyful. Make a joyful noise to God. Come worship and be glad. Come before Him with praise, thanksgiving. God has made us and we are God's. We are God's people embraced in love. Come bless the Lord. Make a joyful noise. Make it joyful. Make a joyful noise. Make it joyful. Make a joyful noise to God. Come worship and be glad. For the Lord is every goodness, and God's love is steadfast joy. From generation to generation, God's faithfulness endures. Make a joyful noise. Make it joyful. Make a joyful noise, make it joyful. Make a joyful noise to God. Come worship and be glad. Make it joyful. Come worship and be glad. Come worship and be glad.
Thank you both. Fast forward to the 30th of July. The pandemic journey was a roller coaster for me. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And then one morning, while I was having coffee at my local coffee shop, if you're part of this congregation, you know where that is. I recommend it, but it's closed tomorrow and Tuesday. The word loss came to me. That's at least part of why I was struggling. The loss of any sense of routine or normality in my life. I wasn't able to be part of, in my last year at this church, Easter and Pentecost services, my church's annual retreat day, a whole lot of things, not just in Christian ministry, but in a whole lot of ways. Loss with how Dale and I, Dale now retired, had planned to spend the year. We had planned to be in Scotland for the second half of August, spending time with the Iona community there. Well, that didn't happen. But I was reminded as I thought of loss that it's not just Dale and I got off lightly. People have lost a heck of a lot more than we ever did or will. Loss of employment. Mental health challenges that leave mine in the shade. Everyone's loss is unique and tragic. All I can say is that for me, the word, the feeling, the deep pain for me also was loss. So once again, I woke up probably about 5 a.m. and this lament tune came to me. Loss. We're going to move to our final song for this evening, and David may well be mentioning this shortly when I hand it back to him. But when one purchases the book, if one does, there are links and website addresses where you can actually listen to not only the songs that we've shared tonight, but the other 12 or so. gathering stones together. I'm a child of the 60s, and especially the 70s, and as I look in front of me here tonight, and I can't see you out in Facebook land, probably many of you are too. And one of my all-time favourite songs is Pete Seeger's Turn, 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 based on that wonderful passage from Ecclesiastes 3. Back in about 1965, the Byrds did that wonderful version. So one has to think, well, is there any point in writing another song based on Ecclesiastes 3? But come the 5th of August, I was reminded how this pandemic season was just lingering. I write here, Victoria has just recorded a record 725 new COVID-19 cases. And Queensland is about to close its borders to New South Wales and the ACT. What under heaven is this world coming to? And I reflected again on this new normal that all humankind is being called to create, I believe, but we of faith, and in my case, we of Christian faith, have a particular mandate. And some of that comes from Ecclesiastes 3. And the line that we often forget about, we often think about a time for this and a time for that, all good. A time to gather stones together. I write in this book, humanly speaking, that's what the world needs. We need to be on about gathering stones together, building on, building up each other. My stone touching yours and yours mine. No time for throwing stones of prejudice or exclusion or oppression or just plain ignorance. So, I wrote this song called Gathering Stones Together. The actual melody is totally original. I realised as we were rehearsing this afternoon that the intro is identical to a John Denver song from about 1983. Not one of his most well-known songs, actually one of my favourites. But I can guarantee you that's as far as the plagiarism goes. So any copyright police who are listening to this through Facebook, go and have a coffee. Okay. Join in if you like, once you get the hang of it.
Time for everything, time for everything, time for everything under heaven. Time for birth, for dying, time for laughing, crying, time for gathering stones together. Whoa, time for gathering stones together.
Join in if you like.
Time for love's embrace, time for love's embrace, time for everything under heaven. Time for breaking down, time for building up, time for gathering stones together. Whoa, time for gathering stones together. Time to plant, to reap, to discard, to keep, time for everything under heaven. Time to tear, to sow, time to gather, throw, time for gathering stones together. Whoa, time for gathering stones together. Time to come together. Whoa, time to come together. Whoa, time to come together. Whoa, time for gathering stones together. Time for war, for peace, time to dance, to weep, time for everything under heaven.
With Peter and Dale and David and a little shade of John Denver. That brings to an end this launch of Songs of Solace and Sorrow. And we are not out of the COVID shadow, are we? Every day there is another little outbreak, another little case, another little quest for people on a certain flight to self-isolate and to get tested. So there's more time for this under heaven as well. But may you find in tonight's music, or the music and the text and the photographs in the book, something that will keep your spirits lifted as you continue this journey, because the journey has a long way to run yet. So, David, I want to thank you on behalf of those who've seen the book, who will buy it, who will find their spirits refreshed through it. Thank you. And particularly thank you for your generosity in sharing your music, your videos, your recordings, so that we can use them in other spaces too. As David said, while the book doesn't sing or speak to you, you can find the links to the audio recordings on the website in either the printed or the ebook version, so you can listen to the way David has recorded those and let them speak to you in that way as well. So, how to get the book? www.lulu.com. It's a multi-purchasing site, and so in the search thing put Songs of Solace and Sorrow and you will find a printed hard copy version or an ebook version that you could buy. Profits go to Lifeline and Beyond Blue. And for those here at Wellers Hill, Tarragindi, there is an opportunity for you to drop some money, COVID safe, into a box either for Lifeline or Beyond Blue. Those boxes are there, David. Are they going to find their way to the exit before people leave?
They will, and maybe Anne, you could bring them. Yeah.
So if you want to leave your credit card and PIN numbers, that'd be fine as well.
It'd be very helpful for the David and Dale MacGregor Retirement Fund.
David and Dale need to, carry on with this after February next year. Thanks very, very much to those who've been part of the production of this. I particularly want to thank Don Richardson and Derek Griffin, who have set up and run the recording of this. I've got Paul MacDonald, Lesley. And Lesley.
Esteban, Lievano.
And at the sound desk at the back, I'm now realising all these names I didn't write down. Esteban, Lievano doing the online interactivity out the back in some dark room where web people tend to go. Thank you, Esteban, for that. David, has this been recorded? Can this be watched subsequent to the event?
Maybe, yes.
Yes, it can.
Yes.
It can. Excellent. Big nod from Don. So, goodness knows how you find it. Good luck with that. But anyway, it'll be there for you to find.
Okay.
Did you have something else to say?
It may not be Plan A or Plan B, but it may be Plan C. And Don and I will have a coffee at some stage. Can I also say, before you do the close thing, David, we do have a couple of spare copies of the book there. They're not for sale. Feel free to peruse them, but in these COVID times, if we needed a reminding, please use some sanitizer, let it dry for about 20 seconds, and then browse to your heart's content.
I did suggest David just bathe the books in sanitizer and just be done with it, but he didn't like that idea very much. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you for your support for David and his music. Thank you for being on this journey tonight. And we look forward to seeing you in other spaces, and we look forward, perhaps telepathically or spiritually, to be on our own pandemic journey, and we may find refreshment in some of the way stations that David's provided for us.
Thank you.
So bless you as you go from here.